Hey folks. Hey, I thought I'd make a video this afternoon in order to support people who are in the class and interested in the class, but not participating actively in the class in the form of sharing from their experience in the public feed. The reason I want to do that is because I've had several conversations over the past 2 or 3 days with people who are in that category, and I've learned some interesting things about why that is going on and what it is that is causing some people to hesitate to participate in a public way. So I realize there are very likely some reasons for a holding back that I'm not aware of, but I want to address the ones that I am aware of in 3 categories. I want to talk about what it's like to be someone who's new to practice or new to this practice and the difficulties that arise with that. I want to talk about struggles that people have in relationship to just sharing in a vulnerable way in a public setting in general. And then I want to talk about resistance. Okay? So to begin, just as an overview, I just want to tell you how it seems to me in terms of participation in practice. It feels to me like it's important to participate actively in practice in general because there can be, when we get involved in conditioned mind, and we're all here to work ourselves out of conditioned mind into a freer, more expansive, more open, happier place. When we are in conditioned mind, people tend to be withdrawn in some way. They tend to be sort of, hiding out behind some kind of ego defense. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what we're all conditioned to do. And it ends up being really limiting in terms of a person's experience of life and the depth of the happiness and joy and peace and connection and belonging and all the good stuff that we want. And so to participate in practice is to let go of some of those ego defenses, whatever it is for you, and to move into a space of connection with others in an environment, hopefully, that is without judgment, so that there's a safety in being able to do that and being able to be open and vulnerable. That is what I'm attempting to create in this class, is that environment. If you don't experience it as being safe, let me know. Maybe send me a private message and tell me why that is. Perhaps there's something I don't understand about the way it's set up that's making it difficult for people. I'm completely open to that. As far as I'm aware, the environment has an integrity that allows people to share in a way that is open and vulnerable if they want to. So that's my intention. At any rate, it's helpful to step out of this safe place that we tend to want to hide out in, and everybody is doing that in one form or another, and to connect with others and open up, because that's where the magic happens. So I can pretty much guarantee you that the difference between the experience of someone who is just reading along with the responses, which is great. I'm really happy if you're doing that, and excited actually that you're doing that. You're reading what people are posting and the responses. But there's a big difference between somebody who is doing that and somebody who's actively participating. I think the benefit that you'll get from the class will be multiply better if you're participating. Okay, so first off, people who are new to practice, I get it that it can be intimidating for all kinds of reasons. It can be intimidating because there's all this Buddhist stuff. If you're not used to hanging around Buddhist stuff and people are talking around Buddhist stuff, I totally get how that would be just weird, potentially intimidating, because, just like anything in life, if you don't have experience with it and other people do, it can feel like you're, outside of things, like you're not in the know, that kind of stuff. I get it. I also get it that there is a kind of a lingo that goes with the conversation we're having in the class. I'm aware of that, and from my point of view, it's unavoidable. It's just like this is a very specialized piece of knowledge that we are discussing in this class. And just like any specialized piece of knowledge, it requires a specialized vocabulary in order to be able to talk technically about what is going on. And so that can be a challenge. One thing I'm going to do to hopefully, at least potentially alleviate that challenge is I'm going to include a link in the communication that goes with this video to something I wrote not long ago that is basically a list of some of the terms we use in practice and some of the definitions, in case that's helpful. So you can know, what do we mean exactly by ego, by conditioned mind, by identity, and stuff like that. I also know that it's intimidating because, this work we do asks people to go to a vulnerable place. And, all of our ego defenses are designed to keep us from going to that vulnerable place. And it can feel like, this feels uncomfortable, this feels scary, and that kind of thing. And I get that too. I get all of that. The thing I would offer about that is, as I said, you'll find it to be really helpful. I feel very confident if you find the willingness to step out of the whatever defensive posture you might find yourself in, and into a place where you're participating in sharing. And I'll offer that I believe what you'll find is that you will find yourself in an environment that is without judgment and without shoulds, without expectations. It's okay. You don't have to know the lingo. You don't have to know how to talk in this way that those of us who have been doing this a long time talk very naturally. You don't have to just talk about it in your language. That's completely okay. I'll know what you mean, and other people will know what you mean too. There's no way to do it right or do it wrong. Truly. I know that's hard to accept and hard to, act from, that understanding, but it's true. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Just say what's going on with you, and I think you'll find that I will accept it 100%, and other people will too. And the other thing is, we've all been there. We've all been in a place where we're starting off on this new adventure, and we don't really understand what it is exactly, and we don't understand where it's taking us, and we don't know whether to trust the other people that are involved. I've been there, and other people have been there too. So my encouragement in this area is to give yourself the best chance you can to let go of the hesitation and just find out for yourself. Just test the waters. Put out a little something and see how that feels. See how it feels when you get the response from me. See how it feels to know that other people will be reading the responses. And then, if you have a good experience with that, which I think you probably will, then you can do a little more. And give yourself, the opportunity to, to participate in the larger ways I've been talking about. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Thing two, people who have some kind of stuff that comes from old trauma in the past about sharing publicly. I was talking with somebody earlier today about he was raised in a certain religious tradition, and there was just this thing that happened around sharing publicly that he doesn't want to recreate. And he was saying that he feels tempted to not share in our class because he doesn't want to recreate this thing that he has experienced so much when he was younger, as a child and as a young man. And what we ended up deciding together, and this is what he decided he was willing for, is instead of just saying, well, I'm not going to participate so that I can avoid that experience, instead he's going to participate with the kind of like a side project in the class of seeing if he can work through the trauma that has been there for him in relationship to sharing publicly through the class. So he's going to share and know that's going to bring up that old stuff for him, and he's going to use that occasion as a way to work through this stuff instead of trying to do an end run around it and avoid it by not participating. So if you've got anything going about that, I mean, many of us have been humiliated for expressing our opinion in various ways. We've been made fun of, stuff along those lines. If you've got stuff like that in the past, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that you've got it. And you might look at this as an opportunity to work through some of that stuff. Because again, I think you'll find that the environment will feel compassionate and generous and kind. And that's the kind of environment we need to work through stuff like that. Okay, thing 3 is resistance. I alluded to this already, I think, at the beginning of assignment 2 in the stuff I sent out. But just one more word about that. If there's some other kind of resistance, and that's resistance in relationship to this work is very common. And the reason is because it's so threatening to conditioned mind. We're directly looking at conditioned mind. We're trying to take it apart. We're trying to work to let it go. Put it over somewhere where we don't have to experience it anymore, and don't have to let it dominate our lives and make our decisions for us. And so for the system that is there that's designed to keep us contained within a self that is separate from everything and is not experiencing expansion and true love and true connection and true belonging and these kinds of things, this kind of work is really threatening, and a resistance will come up from conditioned mind in response to that. So my encouragement with this is to recognize it as resistance when it arises. If you can be aware, okay, that's not actually me. That's not me thinking this. This is conditioned mind resisting. So maybe there's a story about, oh, I don't want to, I don't have time, I don't really care, something like that. If those things are true, great. I got no problem with that. It's very likely they're not true, though. It's much more likely that those are just things conditioned mind is throwing in to keep you from participating. So the trick is to recognize that is conditioned mind. It is trying to keep you from participating because it is threatened. There is the potential through this class that you'll learn something that will be helpful to you and will help to soften your relationship with conditioned mind and escape from conditioned mind to some degree. And it's trying to prevent that from happening. If you notice that's happening, that here comes an assignment, I'm just going to blow this one off. If you're willing, I'd really encourage you not to do that. But instead, just do it for you. And it's not for me. Don't do it for me. I don't care. I actually don't care. What I do care about is I want people, as much as they're willing, to receive from this work that has absolutely saved and transformed my own life. And I want people to have an opportunity to experience the peace and the ease and well-being that I have in my life now as a result of doing this practice with the sincerity and determination that I've been doing this practice for all these years. I want to give people a taste of that and open a door to having that same opportunity. That's all I really care about. So there you go. There's your encouragement. Do with it what you will. And if you are willing to look into your resistance, I think that would be excellent. And if you work through it, and if I see you in the class, then I will love to see you there. And I will enjoy very much communicating with you and sharing practice with you in that way. Thanks for your attention. Take care. Be well. And I'll see you in the class.